There is a feeling you've had your entire life that you've never been able to explain. It usually hits late at night, or on a quiet weekend, or in the middle of a normal day for no reason at all. A small, quiet sense that something is missing, that life is supposed to feel different than this. Slower, fuller, more connected to something you can't quite name. You've probably blamed it on stress, on your phone, on not getting enough sleep, on just being tired. But what if that feeling isn't a flaw? What if that feeling is a memory, not from your life, but from the hundreds of thousands of years of human life that came before you? What if some part of your brain still expects to wake up in a world it was actually designed for? Because here's the truth that most people never stop to think about. For about 95% of human history, every single one of your ancestors lived a completely different kind of life, ways that scientists have only recently started to understand. They had more free time than you do. They were almost never alone. They slept in a way modern people have completely forgotten. And they saw a version of the world at night that you will, almost certainly, never see in your lifetime. So today, you're going to live one full day inside that world. Where do you wake up? It's still dark, but not the dark you know. There are no streetlights, no glowing screens, no hum of anything electric anywhere on Earth. You're lying on a bed of dried grass and soft animal hide, and it's warmer than you'd ever expect. Around you, a few other people are still asleep. There are maybe 30 of you in total. That's your whole world, and somehow, that's enough. You are an ancient human. The time is roughly 10,000 years before anyone will invent the idea of counting years. And here's the strange part. This is going to be one of the best days of your life, and you won't even notice, because nearly every day is like this. What's the first thing you do? You sit up and stretch, and your body just works. Not gym strong, used strong, so your body moves exactly the way a body is supposed to. Nothing aches the way a future human's back will ache from sitting in a chair for 40 years. The gray shift of real dawn that your body has been sinking to since the moment you were born. You walk down to the river, cup your hands, and drink water so clean that a person in the future would pay money for it in a bottle. Then comes breakfast. And here's the first thing that would surprise a modern person. You don't really cook it. You walk to a cluster of bushes you scouted 2 days ago, and the berries are ripe now, exactly as you predicted. You eat a handful. You pull a few roots. Someone hands you a strip of dried meat from a hunt a few days back. That's it. Breakfast took about as long as a modern person spends scrolling in bed, and now you face the biggest decision of your day, and this is the part that's almost impossible to believe. The decision is mostly yours. So how much do you actually have to work? This is where everything you assumed about ancient life falls apart. You probably picture ancient humans grinding from sunrise to sunset just to survive. Constant danger, constant starvation, never a single moment of rest. But when modern scientists went and studied the few groups of people who still live this way, they found something nobody expected. They didn't work all day. The actual work of finding food took something like 4 to 6 hours, some days less. And the rest of the day was simply yours. Sit with that for a second. You have no boss, no clock, no commute, no emails. The single most demanding responsibility in your entire life is making sure there's enough food, and most days, you've handled that by early afternoon. So this morning, you join a small group heading out to gather. You walk through tall grass still wet with dew, and you don't wander aimlessly. You read this land like a book you've had memorized since childhood. Which plant heals, which one harms, which tree the bees nested in last spring, where the animals cross the river. You are not a helpless creature in a scary wilderness. You are the single most knowledgeable expert on this exact piece of earth who has ever lived. By midday, you've gathered more than enough, and you walk home, light and unhurried. What do you do with all that free time? This is the question that genuinely breaks people's brains. Because the honest answer is, You do the things humans were actually built to do. You sit. You talk. A lot. Conversation is the great entertainment of your world. There's no screen, so the people around you are the show. You laugh at jokes you've laughed at 100 times. You argue about who's the best tracker. You listen to the older members tell stories you've heard since you were small. And you make things. Your hands are almost never fully still. You're shaping a tool, smoothing a stone edge, twisting plant fibers into cord. But it's the relaxed kind of busy. The kind a modern person only ever feels on a slow Sunday afternoon with nowhere to be. The children don't go to school. They don't need to. They follow you around, copying everything you do, playing games that are secretly practice for adult life. Nobody is formally teaching them. Everybody is teaching them. And here's something easy to miss but worth stopping for. You are almost never alone. There is no loneliness here the way a future human will know it. There is no such thing as a stranger in your world. You belong, totally and permanently, and you never once have to earn it. The afternoon stretches warm and long. You rest. You might even nap, and no one thinks that's lazy. And then the sun begins to go down. As the light fades, your group gathers around the fire. And fire, to you, is not a small thing. It's the single most important technology your species has ever created. It cooks your food, but it also does something nobody planned for. It gives you the night. Before fire, when the sun went down, the day was simply over. But now the flames push the darkness back for a few more hours. People talk differently at night. Scientists who studied modern groups living this way noticed it directly. During the day, the conversation was practical. Where to hunt, who does what, how to mend a tool. But at night, around the fire, the conversation transformed. People told stories. They spoke about people who weren't there. They described faraway places. They talked about the spirits, the stars, the ones who came before. You are going to wake up in the middle of the night. And it's completely normal. This is one of the strangest, most fascinating discoveries about how ancient humans actually slept. For most of human history, people didn't sleep in one solid 8-hour block the way we force ourselves to today. You fall asleep not long after dark, and you sleep deeply for a few hours. Then, somewhere around midnight, you simply wake up. Not in fear, not in panic, just awake. Calm and clear. And this quiet middle-of-the-night hour was, for thousands of years, one of the most peaceful parts of human life. People used it to add wood to the fire, to talk softly with whoever else was awake, to hold someone they loved, to think, to pray. Some simply lay there in the warm dark, watching the embers, completely at ease. Then, after an hour or two, they would drift back down into a second sleep, and wake naturally with the dawn. 2 sleeps, a gentle island of quiet in between. For your ancestors, this wasn't a sleep problem, it was just sleep. And here's why this matters to you. That feeling you sometimes get, waking at 3 a.m., heart fine, body fine, just awake in the dark, and panicking because you think something's wrong with you? There may be nothing wrong with you at all. That might just be the ancient human inside you, waking up exactly when it was always meant to, quietly looking around for a warm fire, a soft voice, a sky full of stars, and finding a dark ceiling and a glowing clock instead. So now you understand. That missing feeling you've carried your whole life isn't weakness. It isn't laziness. It's the echo of a world your body still remembers, even though you were never alive to see it. A world with more rest and less rush. A world where you were never alone and never a stranger. A world where the night belonged to firelight and stories, and a sky so full of stars it looked like the whole universe was awake with you. You didn't lose that world because it was bad. You lost it because we built a new one on top of it, and forgot to ask which parts were worth keeping. And maybe that's the real reason a small part of you still wakes up in the dark, every now and then, quietly looking for a fire that isn't there. If you watched this far, the channel's all ready for you. Subscribe. I publish these every week.